All right, section 2. Um, Hopefully section 1 went okay for you. Now we're going to be still focusing on some decimals here, but rounding. So with our rounding, we focus on, what's the process of that, and then why would we want to round? What would the reason be for it? And honestly, it makes math a little easier for us. Helps us do some mental math. So when you think about rounding, you're going to pick the place you're going to round to. If the number to the right is lower, you're going to round down, we call it. And if the number is higher, we're going to round up. So we're going to round to the last place value, or the second last place value here. We're going to round to the hundredths place here. So I'm going to look, this is where I'm rounding, so I like to underline it sometimes, and then I draw a little arrow here. I'm looking to the right. 9, since it's 5 or bigger, that means I'm going to round up. So I'm going to have 43.2, and my 1 is rounding up to 2, and my 9 has dropped off. So you can either write the 0, or like we talked about in the last section, you don't technically have to write the 0. So you could write it either way. And technically, you would not want to write the 0 because if it asks to round to the hundredth place, your last digit should be in the hundredth place. All right, so if we round this next number, let's do the tenths place on this one. So we look at the 6 and we look to the right, that's a 4. So that 4 is 4 or lower, so my 6 is going to stay a 6. So I have 8.6 stays there, and everything else would become a 0. And technically I should write it as 8 and 6/10 because I said let's round to the 10th place. In this one we round to the hundredths. So a little challenge though here. What happens if you have a number where we look at the hundredths place and the number to the right is bigger? Well, we know we need to round up, but that's going to make this 9. What do I do with this 9 here? So I looked at the 7, it's bigger. So I know I'm going to have 5.89, but I want to round it up. So that 9's got to become a 10 here. Well, I can't make a 10 here worthwhile. So I need to actually then make my next number bigger. So I'm going to end up with 5.90. So you actually had to bump the next number up because of it being a 10. So notice this one though, I did write that number here of 0 because I'm at the hundredths place. Okay, so that gets me the right spot. So, all right, why do we round? Why do we have to figure out how to round? Sometimes we want to estimate things so we know if we have enough money somewhere or other things that might be going on. So when we think about compatible numbers, when something says we round to a compatible number, you're going to round to the nearest number that is easy to use. Okay, so it's easier to multiply by 10 than 9. So if you had 9.4, you might round that to 10 because it's easier to multiply. When you have addition and multiplication, or one or the other in a problem, when you round, it's a good idea to round one up and one down. Okay, so one number up, one down. So we'll do example 5 here because that one's an addition one. So if I round one up, what's an easy number to do here? Well, I would make this 15, right? That's an easy to add number. Plus, so this one I went up on. This next one I'm going to round down to follow my up and down pattern to 20. So 15 plus 20 is 35. Easy to use, compatible numbers, numbers that work well together. Okay. And then let's do example 6, multiplication. So this one, you could round, let's say this one down to 20, first number, because it's easy to multiply by 20, and maybe this one up to 40. So 20 times 40, and the trick with zeros are if you pretend that they're not there, you make it 2 times 4, gives you 8, and I have 2 zeros, so those 2 zeros are going to come back over here and go 0, 0. So it's 20 times 40 gives me 800. Okay, so nice trick with zeros there. So 800 would be good. 35 would be good. Could you have rounded differently? Could you have said 25 and 40? Yeah, you could have. Which maybe your answer then would have been 25 times 40. So this case I rounded them both up, which really doesn't fit my pattern. But it's doable. 25 times 40. It's going to give me a bigger answer for sure. So this one I do 25 times 4, which is 100, and then I have an extra 0 in. So notice there's a difference of 200 there, which is a big difference. So I probably wouldn't do that one because they were both up. So in this case we rounded this one down and this one up. Okay. So that's addition and multiplication. It helps get a more accurate answer if you do one up, one down. Subtraction and division. Rounding them both the same direction, whether that's both of them down or both of them up. That's kind of your choice, thinking what might be easier to do. So in this case, I'm going to look at this 356.4. What's a number that's close to that? And it might take you a couple tries. You might say, hey, let's try 360. That's a pretty close number to that. Or maybe you want to say, let's try 350. And so I rounded that one down. Divided by, what would I do that one to? I'm not sure. Hey, I have an idea. What if this one, I rounded this one down, let's make this one 90. Does 90 fit evenly into 350? No, it doesn't. And remember my trick, one up and down for addition multiplication. For subtraction and division, we're going to go both down or both up. And in this case, what did I do? I actually went one down, one up. So let's take my division one here. Let's round it up. Let's go back to 360. Same trick with multiplication. If you pretend the zeros aren't there, how many times does 36? Does 9 fit into 36? It fits in there 4 times. And because I took 1 0 off of each, I don't have to put it back on. So my final answer is 4. So again, both down or both up. All right, example 7 here. If I'm going to round them both up or both down, I would have to think about this one. What might fit good? Let's round them both down. Let's make this one 300 and this one 60. That's both down. Does 60 fit into 300 evenly? It does. And it fits in there 5 times. So that works. Could we have gone up? Yeah, we could have gone up to 350 and 70. Round them both up. And 7 fits in there 5 times. So again, I got the exact same answer, and I just rounded a little differently. So either way, as long as you keep both up, both down for division and subtraction. It's going to be a little tricky as you go through, so just take your time, go slow. If you make a mistake, that's okay. We'll keep working at it. I can round correctly to give to a given number of decimal places, and then can you pick compatible numbers so you can do math in your head. Make sure just to do the evens here at the end. 2 through 36 evens. I know it sounds like a lot, but being evens, it's not as many. And then 37 through 40, 43, 46 through 50. You really shouldn't need a calculator on those. You should be able to do those in your head But if you want to check them on a calculator, go for it.